Yeah, Big has been going pretty hard on Rakan and early picking it in almost all of Team Dignitas' games. So we talk about people going in and kind of being able to create space for Team Dignitas or have an initiator other than Ssumday. Rakan's a champion that can definitely do that.
Absolutely agree. You can see what gets taken on the other side. Bit of a lover's quarrel here as Xayah's taken over by Keith here in this one, and Elise joins the roster. Akaadian getting the highest priority jungler, but right off the bat, Elise in joins, and Kalista gonna separate here. And I think Kalista Rakan has some really nice synergy. Rakan's got a bit of range, so it's easier to use the Kalista W. Also, he's got now 7 million ways in and out of team fights, depending on how you want to use the Kalista ultimate, so expect disruption out of Big.
Yeah, I think it makes it a little more difficult on Laud rather than it would on Big's Rakan, because I always really love the Kalista Thresh combo since they can save each other. Here, Rakan can't save the Kalista as well, and it's going to be a little bit tricky for Laud to get in there, especially knowing that they haven't seen the enemy marksman pick yet, but still a lot of initiation picked from both sides.
Yeah, it looks like all the bot laners have shown up as well as the junglers as well, so solo laners left available. Tahm Kench going to be the pickup here for Gate in the bot lane, and if you saw the previous game on this stream, Tahm Kench has done very well so far this day in the North American LCS. And as far as hardcore Rakan initiations, the Tahm Kench can fish someone out of there.
I think Tahm Kench is actually one of the best supports you can pick into Rakan. Any type of the quick knock-up initiation you get is pretty easily disrupted as long as you're not both getting caught in the knock-up or the charm.
I always like watching these two supports play as well. Big and Gate, I feel like, have been fairly under the radar as players. They're like LCS players and obviously very good, but I don't see them get a ton of praise. But these two have been a bit innovative. They bring out their own fun things. Like first pick Rakan is like a Dignitas only type thing. Gate we've seen bring out Sejuani a couple of times. He was a Camille player back last split as well. They're very fun players to watch for as the bans are done. Fiora, Cassiopeia, Jason, Talia off the table, and the Renekton going to be grabbed quickly for Looper. They will leave Froggen's pick for last.
Yeah, and look at all the top lane bans that have precluded that Renekton pick as well. Echo Fox looks like they're trying to get that a strong laning and split push game going. It'll be really interesting to see if Ssumday can pick a lane that can actually beat that Renekton blind, and that's also kind of forcing Keane to go with the generic mid laner like the Orianna, since they don't want to give Froggen a super favorable counter pick either.
Well, the problem with that is Syndra is still available if Froggen wants to play it. Syndra known typically to be picked against Orianna, and we'll see if he wants to go for that one. Team Dignitas taking a bit longer to choose their top lane matchup. Who will it be? 5 top lane bans in already. The 6th one picked away with Renekton. And as time ticks down, what do they even want to do? Rumble up there as a pretty solid champion. Shouldn't have an easy laning phase, but good champion overall. Yeah,
and you look at the overall team composition for Team Dignitas, and there's very low tank on that team right now. A lot of times you can go a tank into Renekton, you're just going to have a little bit of a defensive laning phase. Gragas was still up, so that totally could have been something Team Dignitas goes with, but they really want that extra bit of damage out of their top laner. It makes them very vulnerable to ganks in the early game. The Renekton and the Elise, there's a tremendously strong 2v2 or 2v1 gank onto the Rumble, so somebody has to be really smart and careful about this early game.
Absolutely agree. We'll see how that one gets played out. Shrimp, of course, has been very aggressive and has been taking it to his opponent junglers as well. We'll see how that one plays out here. Ahri going to be the final pick for Froggen. One of the other counter picks we've seen more and more likely into the Orianna. If it's not Syndra, it's Ahri here, so going for that one, as we've seen, pretty standard. And this one actually does have a bit more of a tank line. You expect Renekton to be more durable, and then Tahm Kench, even though it's in a support role, usually tanky enough to hold the front line, so Echo Fox do have battle lines to stand behind.
Yeah, we're going to have no Gragas or Shen tier tanks in this game, the ones that can take a huge amount of damage, but definitely, as you say, a better front line for Echo Fox than for Team Dignitas.
Absolutely the case. So, the lineup secured in. We'll see how the split push games go. Renekton maybe wants to split, but the Rumble may want to join some team fights. Coaches shake hands and head off the stage for our first game in this best of 3. Team Dignitas 4-1 can stay in that first place race. Echo Fox, though, can drag them down to their level. There are not a lot of one-loss teams remaining, I should say.
Yeah, I believe it is COG and Immortals, or as some people would say, COG and ex-COG in the top, because Poe Belter and Smithy have been crushing it for Immortals. But starting the split at 4-2 for Echo Fox would be massive, and for Team Dignitas to be at 5-1, I mean, both these teams want to really have that strong start 1/3 of the way through the split.
They are everywhere, and we are here in a Game 1. League of Legends is everywhere as well. Shout out to the old EU LCS promo, and it is time to get ourselves into Game 1. Team Dignitas hoping for the 5-1 end. Tie for first place at the end of the first week. Quick binding comes through as Laud and Big will be soulmates. Sorry, Keith, you're not getting any of this Rakan today.
not going to happen. But he does have Tahm Kench, who just devours him every once in a while.
Yeah. They'll be close, I guess. I don't know. It's getting weird. We're gonna move on.
There's a lot of jokes we could go with.
Yeah.
It's not appropriate for this medium.
So not trying at all.
Yep.
I'm sure Twitch chat knows what's going on, and that's fine. You guys do you. But we are here waiting out in the battle lines as the landing phase waits to begin. Minions spawn at 1:15 if you didn't know.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Thank you, announcer, for helping me out with that one. Math is hard. And we'll see that Big is going with not only a coin start, but also is going Courage of the Colossus. Zyrene brought this up last time he cast a Rakan game. He said he had talked with Aframu about the choices here, so I'm just going to regurgitate what Zyrene said, which is that Aframu doesn't think you need Courage of the Colossus because you're getting out anyway. Right. You don't need the extra shield because they're stunned regardless, and you're just jumping back, so who cares? And he says that Aframu prefers Wind Speakers because it actually does help your laning phase. You want the extra healing. Yeah. One of the other options being Thunderlords, and he, again, paraphrasing Aframu, said you don't really need that. The damage output doesn't really matter that much. So Big going for the tankier option, though. Obviously, it's still up for debate. No one has really decided what they really want to do.
Yeah, I think Wind Speakers in general, just as the early game is not looking too crazy, so we can get into this discussion. I think Wind Speakers is one of the best support masteries if you can get away with it. Almost any type of shield or healing is good. I even really love Ardent Sensor as an item. On Rakan, even, good AP ratios, good heal amp, and then also if you're going to try and get picks, you want to be able to kind of supercharge your AD in the late game. So, not what Big's going for, obviously, because he's going Courage of the Colossus, but if you so choose, you could try it in your own games.
Absolutely. And we see Lod and Big pushing forward on this one. No stun going to be allowed. As you can see, they always back up and don't allow that Q to land after a third stack. Still some damage on a Lod. First 6 minions go, and Team Dignitas will be the one pushing. As Big grabs some coins, and looks like it should be pretty easy for Team Dignitas to grab their first bit of power. Of course, Kalista, very much known as a fervent battle user, does not have as much sustain in the early laning phase, relying on Doran's shield for that instead, versus the Warlords of Keith. But there's level 2, and unsurprisingly, Echobox back off to not be all in with the level disadvantage.
And as they are level 2, unless they get really cheeky, we shouldn't see much down on that bottom side. Where there is action, though, is Akaadian doing this quick rush with the experience Quint to get level 3 off the Scuttle Crab to a vulnerable lane in Ssumday. Looper would need to be able to get the first stun, otherwise this gank probably doesn't kill.
Okay, red buff slow, auto attack, there's the flash W. The is gonna land, there's no way out, there's nothing to do, there's no possible chance for Ssumday, and he gets shut down at the beginning of the weekend.
That's all it takes, and I mean, Ssumday was pushed up in the lane, so he warded the Tribe Rush, but that's only going to stop almost a lazy gank from the jungler, because what you could expect to happen from the Elise, since they didn't actually have the starting position mapped out, could have been something like a blue buff to Gromp to red buff, but this is the quick jungle route. This is the fastest possible way to level 3, and if that is going to happen, Ssumday did not have the ward for that coverage. He wants to push up. It's a difficult situation. It's exactly what we talked about in Champion Select. It's very vulnerable to the gank. Flash from Looper, gets the stun, allows an easy chain. It doesn't actually set Ssumday too far behind in the lane because it did have a flash burned against him and the minion wave ended up coming back to him. But the First Blood Gold for now is a quick jump.
All right, flash lead. TP was used by Looper, so there's no easy way back to his lane. Of course, he wanted to get the quick recall off, picks up the Doran's Blade and the... Oh, a little bit of damage from Shrimp. He'll survive this, but that's still 300 damage dealt.
Yeah, and because TP down, that actually makes it so much
they're gonna dive
more critical. He's being super aggressive. They did spot Akaadian on a ward at Gromp. That's why they're being so fearless now.
Aggro pulled by Ssumday, has flash if he needs it. Easy kill picked up out of the turret. Well played counter gank. Team Dignitas fire back at the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually huge. This now puts Looper at the big disadvantage. Whenever you're in this situation, you can get the counter gank after someone's used teleport. It's so much more punishing than the gank before the person teleports. You can notice the experience here is now going to get way out of hand because Ssumday caught all the waves, and now Looper is losing 2 waves worth of experience at his turret. I think Looper should not have teleported back after the kill, because that was the mistake in this lane that's really going to cost him.
Yeah, rough stuff for him, but you're right, it's going to be rough. And you can see 9 to 30 in minions. Akaadian actually giving away 3 casts of XP. A little strange. Looper's only going to pick up 1 right here. But yeah, it's a huge, massive advantage right now. Akaadian, though, is level 5 because he did leech so much in that top side. We'll see what he can do for himself. Shrimp, of course, with a momentary item advantage with his long sword. Control ward, he's not going to sweep that ward out. He's got minions to kill instead. As Keane just makes sure his bottom river is safe. Of course, they had still seen Akaadian topside recently. But we can take stock of the rest of this game. Bot lane basically equal mid lane. Small lead for Keane, but nothing major. Froggen is fine. Otherwise, been a holding pattern regardless in that top lane. As far as individual leads are concerned, it is 200 in the advantage of Ssumday.
Yeah, and that's all from CS, because Looper actually got more gold for his kill since it was the first blood bonus. It's the experience that's going to be the big thing in that lane. Ssumday is going to hit level 6 first, and if Shrimp can go up there, as Shrimp also got supercharged in experience with that kill, it'll be huge. But these junglers all about the games right now.
Not going to land a cocoon right down on a Keane, though. Didn't want to burn the flash to make it easier, just gets the sidestep out.
Of course, Akaadian gets the entire caster wave of CS with the volatile spiderling, so keeping up the gold flow.
Yeah, he's rich for himself. Froggen still has ulti. It's not the worst thing in the world here. That means Akaadian's got sick farm. So much for playing for the team. Playing for himself with that. The Scuttle Crab goes back to his side of the map, and there's only one camp for him to take right now. We can see where the next piece of aggression might be. And Froggen is the first spawn. Teams love it, and it's very strong. We may see more aggression than normal on the bot side as a result. Maybe some ganks, maybe some roams. Shrimp looking to sneak in the top side, but a fight in the bottom lane right here. Big Feather comes across, not going to find a stun, and a flash out of Keith to get away from the dive in from Big. Summoner down, Echo Fox.
Yeah, a little surprise there, as Gate could have just devoured Keith out of that.
You've got to assume.
The spell cooldown was up. I just went and checked, so I think look at a lack of trust there from Keith.
Yeah.
Saved his flash.
Definite mistake. 5-minute cooldown here in this one. Look for damage in the Keith. There's the first shield popped, and good damage. Double root comes across as well. Great trading despite losing, I should say, that flash. And as the stacks time out, Gate can't find any hard CC into that duo. Just a trade of damage back and forth.
And here's that level 6 mismatch we just talked about in the top lane. Somebody's level 6. Shrimp, perfect timing, also level 6. That is a lethal lane. You can't even 2v2 that, which is why they're being so brazen with their push through the turret right now.
Definitely nice stuff to call off the fact that Looper was down half a level. Still no dominance available. Akaadian putting what wards down he can to stay safe. Ssumday's here to make sure that Shrimp can dive nicely. Akaadian has burned his entire ward stack just to see that his red buff is still dying, so he's not getting much out of that one. Gonna lose his Krugs as well. Team Dignitas are actually smashing this game through the top lane.
Yeah, the total top side control by Ssumday and Shrimp, and this is for Echo Fox, a time where they have to be able to lose that side gracefully. They actually did it very well there. Looper didn't die, he still got level 6, the turret didn't take damage, and losing a couple minions to your turret as well as your red buff is a small price to play compared to if they had over-aggressively tried to defend that turret. That could have been 1 to 2 deaths and a turret if all things go poorly because of the advantage the Team Dignitas held. So I like the way that Echo Fox actually dealt with that aggression from Team Dignitas and only lost about 150 gold worth of resources.
And they may not even lose more than that as we're seeing Akaadian take away the Raptors and now go for the red buff. And even though there were some pings, I saw some help me pings, join me here. Even though this Sentinel's going to spot what Akaadian's doing, it's going to get this in time. Shrimp is not going to join this jungle before the red buff goes away, so it should be a fairly equal trade of camps. But as you mentioned, the top lane farm is going away. Shrimp missing the Krugs, a little awkward there, but...
Yeah. It's going to make him think temporarily that it was either being pulled away or that they were gone, but he realizes that now and he'll just continue on his merry way.
Maybe just fine on that one. So no huge issues here. And a defensive control you saw was put down by the Krug pit as well. Helps ensure the relative safety of him sneaking through that side of the map. Shrimp can be pretty sure that he's not seen. There's going to be a quick wave clear. Team Dignitas will do match recalls off this BF sword, double longsword for Keith. Going for the very standard Essence Reaver build. I think it's the stronger of the, I guess, 3 possible Xayah builds. Other ones being Infinity Edge and Ruin King. This one seems the best to me.
I agree. I like the crit scaling on the build and also gets you to that 3-item superpower spike I almost feel like it is. With Xayah, the Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver, and a Zeal item. But Keane, Shockwave.
Going to be a charm, and Froggen, I believe, saved his ult cooldown. I think many players would have just hit R and gotten away from that one, but actually trades back pretty closely. Keane had no cooldowns left, and Froggen goes a bit close in that trade.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing Froggen's always excelled at, it's patience in the lane. He keeps the CS close, doesn't need to burn his ultimate, is going to recall anyway. The slightly concerning thing would be this Drake Rush, since their mid laner has backed, and Keane will have just picked up blue buff, but if they can get it quickly enough,
it's going to lose a few more seconds.
Yeah, they got to hurry now.
Now they have Akaadian with Smite, shouldn't be too bad, gets to pick that one up. First Infernal Drake, 950 into the game. Goes Echo Fox. Because the bot lane recalled first, they had the damage to rush it down, and Lod still was running back to lane, so that timing window used nicely. Akaadian on that side of the map. And you're right, Froggen was backing, but it still worked out.
Yeah, that just makes Froggen all that much happier. Keane spent the time to run down there, his team got the Drake anyway. It was a mild risk, but it has a mild reward.
Wow, and the instant Rift Herald pickup, though, so actually pretty big amount of emphasis on these neutral objectives. This is roughly the earliest possible Rift Herald you could go for. It spawned 20 seconds ago. As we know, it's very easy to solo, and Shrimp will... I guess we'll see how long it takes for a level 8 Lee Sin to solo a Rift Herald. It's looking like it's going to be like 40 seconds long, but probably worth it.
Yeah, Lupa's going to go down and check this, actually.
Ooh, that's a risk. It's not in smite range.
Yeah.
Pop the eye, Q smite should get it.
But he would have to pop the eye. Lupa shouldn't hit it. Just try and kill
Shrimp. 1400 HP, and no one's there to stop this around, and now it's going to be the kickback.
Now they can hit the eye.
Well, now it's a battle with Ssumday, and it's Keane showing up as well as Froggen. The cleanse burn, and here comes the attacks. The blue team is defeated it. Ssumday burns it down. Rift Herald finally does go to Team Dignitas. It was a bit contended, but it goes through at the end.
Whew. And Froggen nearly loses his life after all that. Ssumday doesn't even use the equalizer, so close one. Here comes Akaadian.
But he's very low on mana distance, slows him as well. Keane does have Shockwave up. Froggen has to be aware of that one. Stun's gonna land. Here comes the bot lane, and suddenly more than he bargained for. The gumbo is in. The king of the sea. Gate shows up, and the kill comes in.
Yeah, the delayed gank really right there.
Yeah.
Akaadian was like, I'm just gonna do this pathetic looking gank in the mid lane, give Keane a false sense of security.
Yep.
Waits about 7 seconds before landing his cocoon, but that's right as Tahm Kench is coming in, so EchoFox's bottom lane roam pays off. Unfortunately, the kill does go to Tahm Kench, but still a good gank.
Yeah, so Gate's gonna buy some more items for himself here, keep scaling up. We'll wait to see as he gets more. Going for the tier 2 item pretty soon. That's what the Rejuve bead's gonna go into here, but Keith's gonna get some free time back in the bot lane, not down too much in farm. A lot going towards Ruin King as expected, and holding pattern continues. 700 gold difference. Lead to EchoFox plus the Infernal Drake, but you expect that the Rift Herald pickup should allow Team Dignitas to get first turret gold, and likely in top lane with how well Ssumday was doing before.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a little surprising with the top lane dominance they had early on in the game. That turret still has half of its health. You can see Akaadian kind of pathing up there to preemptively defend it.
Looking for a kill.
Yeah, but now that they see Shrimp's Lee Sin, Akaadian's got to be a little careful.
Well, he's going to do all of his health all at once. 200 HP left on him. Repel over the wall. Equalizer not going to come down. Forcing the flash into Shrimp to keep him safe, but that was Akaadian setting up the trap, expecting him to come in, and he read that play perfectly. Yeah,
Runic Echoes, Elise.
A lot of damage.
A lot of damage, not to mention the Krugs were helping him out. Surprised Shrimp didn't immediately kick him away. You see that a lot for the Elise in disengage, but still manages to get away with the flash and a ward jump. Still a very good play by Akaadian, because that setup was feeling like it was almost certainly going to push for the top lane turret. If they would have just had Lee Sin and Rumble in the lane, use the Rift Herald, and let it charge. That's a turret, but that's now delayed for a little while longer at the very least.
We'll see the 4-minute timer, and at least 1.5 minutes of that has timed out so far. Picked up at around 10:50. And we'll see what comes in next for this one. Shrimp over the wall was on a ward. Now he's disappeared. And now Big shows up, and that's where he went. So Team Dignitas walking by some wards, not going to be too sneaky in the mid lane as Froggen hugged the left-hand side as a result. Proper play around wards there, puts his own trinket down, sees what's going on, says, okay, maybe I'll kill that control ward sometime soon. Shrimp gets his red on the respawn, so it's only been the one steal from Akaadian.
Yeah, a lot of deep wards placed for Team Dignitas right now, so you're wondering if they're going to be able to set up a play. Ssumday doesn't have his teleport off of cooldown quite yet, but that would basically be why you have those deep wards where they are.
Yeah. We'll see if the play comes through. We're seeing Akaadian near the bot side on a ward himself. Shrimp hoping to walk into the bot lane near the Krugs, but maybe near his own duo as they walk into this one. No major swaps have happened, though. Just the 800 gold with EchoFox finding themselves a gank. Quick control ward take. They have a little bit more safety down on this side of the map. Next Drake in 130. Maybe we see continued plays on the bot side. Rift Herald's going to despawn in 40 seconds. The buff, I should say, the eye of the Herald.
I mean, Ssumday saw Akaadian bottom side. I feel like he should have just Rift Heralded right there. It's delaying a little bit. It might give time for Akaadian to come up. Surely he uses it here. There it comes. No.
Right. But there's no teammates at all, and again, they know that it has to be somebody using it, so Akaadian's spending a lot of time on this side of the map. Equalizer comes down, brings a lot of damage on a looper. The turret does fall to Rift Herald, but the continued fight comes in, and the kill goes through. Assist does finally come through to Akaadian, but first turret gold is nice and everything.
Yeah, that's about as much as EchoFox could have hoped for. That's why I thought Ssumday was going to use it sooner. Froggen going for the kill.
A lot of damage on that one. Ignite is on as well. The kick just to buy a bit more time, and he does die just barely. To the last tick of Ignite. Infernal Drake at work, to be fair. Sork Shoes as well.
True.
Just enough damage.
Just enough. Health potion ticking for Shrimp as well, so every little bit counts in games like this. Froggen an incredibly experienced Ahri player as well. So Echo Fox picking up a couple kills around the map, and if they can match that turret, you're really going to see their lead show more in the scoreboard, because that first turret gold always inflates it quite a bit. Just one more time, just Shrimp kind of aggressively going in where he does not have any more vision. Froggen snuck into that rush pretty easily. They would have picked it up anyway with Kate and Keith behind him, but
yeah,
Froggen gets solo kill.
Nicely picked up there on that one, and it's the 1,400 gold lead. And I was pretty sure that if you lasted a turret, it doesn't matter where you are, you get the local gold regardless, but I don't know if that actually works via Rift Herald in the same way. I'm not sure if Ssumday got official kill credit on the turret because he was so far away when it did go down. May have lost out on the 700 gold. Called it wrong last time when I casted you yesterday, but...
Yeah, I think he would have lost this one, personally.
I think so. Yeah, he's not really exactly up in gold on his opponent anymore, and you'd think the 1,000 gold spike from knocking that down would put him above. So I think they did lose the first turret benefit because that's all local gold. And it may actually not have meant too much this time. This game's still 1,000 up for Echo Fox. Have not yet to get their own turret, but they have stacked Drakes, and those are some nice ones, to be clear. We'll see. Double loss on Froggen from killing Shrimp is going to feel great. But Keane is still laned equally. Keane's holding his own so far. Typically, Team Dignitas wins have looked like Ssumday being as good as normal and Keane having an above-average game.
Very true. Ssumday, though, getting picked off a few times, pushing up. Not getting that turret gold the way we would want him to. And not really snowballing that lead, because remember, the 30 CS to 9 lead with 1 kill to 1 in the early game.
Yeah.
And then the repeat gank by Shrimp at level 6 to push Looper off the turret. Even though I criticized Looper early on in the game for the teleport back after the kill, which I think was wrong, I think he's played it very well since then to stick around in the game.
Absolutely agree. Farm only down 12, which is an improvement over what he was earlier into this one. And has gotten that kill back, as you mentioned, with Akaadian coming back to that lane. 3 assists for the jungler. Akaadian continues to try to play for the team. And will not finish off the scuttle. Walks away and go for something else on the side of the map. Shrimp now holding onto the mid lane alongside Keane, and they're getting just the smallest of chips down to the mid lane turret, but not staying for much.
Yeah, you're not pushing in a blue buff Ahri.
Not really.
If she's there.
Yeah. If she's absent, maybe. You can get the minions, but... A lot of holding patterns, though. Not a lot going on. The only bot lane kill has been them roaming into the mid lane to kill off Keane in a 4v1, so it's been a pretty slow game of just farming back and forth. The lanes, at least on the bottom and mid lane, haven't meant too much.
Yeah, and farm they have. Look at these CS per minute numbers.
Real good numbers.
Yeah, we got 10 CS per minute in the mid and the bottom lane, and we're even approaching that in the top lane. I mean, 160 to 150, these guys haven't been doing much else than laning. The occasional departure to place down a ward or threaten someone off. Keith and Gate, I'd say, actually have done the most roaming, and therefore they have the largest deficits. But yeah, it's been a farm fest, and both teams are farming pretty well.
Yep, definitely agree. A lot of golden come here into this one, but we've yet to see a real team fight, and honestly, Team Dignitas have been willing to give away control over the Drake's Charm. Instant cleanse, Keane gets away with it, but still running away. Ignite is on, Shockwave flashed away, and Froggen completes the solo kill. All 4 summoners burn onto that one. And I dare you to jump into that one, Shrimp. He's not going to go for it. Akaadian's there to help, and what a great play out of Froggen.
Yeah, that's just huge. That's creating pressure from the mid lane without leaving. It's something when Froggen is at his best, he does often, but being able to get that solo kill and burn both summoners just moves the whole map down towards the mid lane, and Froggen can just keep doing what he's doing.
Yep, and getting more turret damage as well. Akaadian makes sure that that push stays safe for now, and that pressure still continuing. The gold lead now closer to 2,000. As Froggen will match once more the recall after his opponent respawns. Keane going for a defensive build, though Merc treads and towards the Banshee's Veil. Still was dying.
Yeah, I mean, Froggen is the one clearing the control ward. Ooh. Near pick onto Ssumday. If that cocoon would have landed, I can see why the observers jumped out.
Knock up in a charm, though. Gate going to keep his teammate alive for now. Keith healthy enough, but Ignite was on. That's some of the spells burn, and Gate going to heal off the Greyhound. That's to pop the shield, and look at the damage up that they have on Shrimp. That's the Feather Storm. That's going to be the not quite landing. It wasn't angled enough to find the rest of the targets. Only 2 feathers onto him. Big blocks away. Shrimp the same. But still low health bars with Gate under 500.
Yeah, dangerous TP cancel game those guys are playing, but both Looper and Ssumday canceled last second. Now Froggen's coming in. He has ultimate. This could be a lot of kills.
We're going to play ulti in for Big to find the CC. He's not going to get the knock. He dies too quickly onto that one. Now damage on a Shrimp. Jumps in, finds nothing for it. Keane to join the fray. Needs another command attack for the Shockwave. Can he get it?
All right, he has his ultimate as well, but he's got to be careful with no summoners.
Nothing's going to come through all right for that one. Still 2 for 0. Echo Fox making really no mistakes in these fights at this point. They are outplaying, and Team Dignitas cannot find a way into this one.
Yeah, just hard farming strategy, but then making the right plays when they're necessary, and basically just outplaying the laning phase of Team Dignitas, because we think of the way they've gotten most of their kills. Either Akaadian doing a fairly routine gank in the top lane, Froggen getting solo kills right near his lane. Basically when people come to his lane, he kills Shrimp in the river, or just 1v1ing Keane in the lane. And then in the bot lane there, Keith and Gate, Team Dignitas is trying to turret dive them, and Froggen makes his first roam of the game, and he makes it count. Watching this one more time, the Tahm Kench denies a lot. You can see the quickness really didn't do much. And then teleports canceled at the last second, and that kind of baits Shrimp to go in, because he had the Sonic Wave on him, but he's got heal, he's got gray health. Then they get the Xayah ultimate off, which does a whole bunch of damage, doesn't quite get the root. And since Froggen had so much power over that mid lane, he is well ahead of Keane on the roam, runs straight through the ward, dodges the Sonic Wave. Disagree with Big's choice to go back in there, since this was most likely a fight they would lose. They do lose it, give up 2 more kills when they could have disengaged, and then Keane, with no summoners, can't make the chase through for the kill.
Yeah, and you imagine if they have enough time for maybe Keane to join that fight, they live 3 more seconds, that looks a little bit better instead of the 2 for 0, but as you mentioned, yeah, they opted into both those fights on the side of Shrimp as well as Big. Those are the ones with the option to go in. They did, and they died for it, so still good roam for Froggen, and his dominance over the mid lane, now that we're seeing it in the mid game, certainly is paying off now. 3-0-2 on him, getting largely his own advantages. A couple of ganks from his team, but now really doing it himself. 4,000 the lead as the Mountain Drake spawns up in 3 seconds, and the team is ready to go.
Bit of a Drake buffet for Echo Fox right now. This will be their 3rd unique Drake. There's no teleport on Ssumday, he just showed top lane, so Echo Fox gonna look to bully around this area a little bit. Cocoon lands.
He's gonna land the stun, gonna land damage. Big's gonna jump back to his teammate, stay alive for now. Blue will come in. Froggen not gonna find the charm, hits a minion only. Kites right back out. The Rumble now waiting alongside the mid lane. Ssumday has come down.
Yeah, and this swings it over for Team Dignitas. Not having Ahri ultimate at this stage in the game is very critical. If they get a big shockwave or equalizer, and Echo Fox does decide to go for this Mountain Drake, it could turn in Team Dignitas' favor.
Rakan, Orianna, Rumble. That is such a scary trio. We have to see if it can land. And no matter the gold deficit, there's squishy enough champions that can certainly mean a lot. Dignitas control over the mid lane, going to push that one down pretty quickly. Ssumday still waiting around this side as the range champions knock down in the mid lane. It's going to be Echo Fox trying to rush down the Mountain Drake, but they're going to trade it for mid lane outer. That's not necessarily a positive trade for them, but it's going to happen here in this one as mid falls. Gold down 3,000 still, but Team Dignitas at least finds something to trade. As the losing team, that's pretty solid for them. One more wave clear, but look at this. Now Echo Fox in the backswing. Froggen has a lone time bot lane and ends up being very positive for the red side. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see if Team Dignitas can convert this 5-man push in the mid lane, because Froggen didn't have ultimate, so he tried to get something in return, but it might cost them a second.
See what they find. Looper is on top of a ward and chooses to not kill it. Finally does. That was interesting, but now mid lane tier 2 falls, so it goes back to Dignitas. Maybe getting a little bit better out of it. He's going to now move for this red buff as well. Froggen has rejoined to the mid lane. He roamed up through the river. Quick smite, quick jump over the wall, and Team Dignitas can get away with their spoils of war. As long as they can find the way out, and looks like Echo Fox not willing to push too close.
Yeah, I mean, now that Froggen's ultimate's back up, this is how long this little cat and mouse game has been going on. They're going to try and push the mid turret themselves.
There we go, mid lane falls finally. A lot of the damage dealt earlier by Froggen in the laning phase, but ends up being 2 for 2 in turret's long form. Mountain Drake did still go over to Echo Fox earlier on, and it goes back to them getting the better of the extended trade.
I actually thought that whole sequence was really well played. Kind of by both teams. The only thing that I would have liked to see is Team Dignitas fight at the Drake with the R ultimate down, but every other decision that revolved around was super clean. I mean, so Team Dignitas knows they're at a deficit, so they want to opt into turret trades. So therefore they push mid, since Mountain Drake is kind of a win more Drake, and it's not going to help Team Dignitas come back, so they don't care about that trade. Then, since Froggen has no ultimate, he's pushing the bottom lane because he wants someone with an ultimate to match him, because that's the only way he doesn't pay for not having his ult. Team Dignitas doesn't take that bait, take a second turret in the mid lane, so Froggen ends up so-called trading that turret, and Team Dignitas punishes in that way. And then Echo Fox gets the small advantage because Looper safely passes around the backside of his red buff, sees a few members are out of position, and it gives Echo Fox a small window to push the mid lane. So just a really long sequence of very small advantages being taken advantage of by both teams. The net of it is the game kind of stays where it was, but it was really well played by both teams.
Right, in so many games you see an inferior team just stop at stage 2 or whatever and lose one more thing than they would have liked to otherwise, and well played on both these sides. And It is very interesting. Just as an idea, a very well-played game, you'll see these equal trades, but it's the right choice. Like, well, the best thing I can do is get this turret, and the best thing I can do afterwards is get that one back. And but by making the choice, you invite them to misplay and not match you. And so it ends up being a positive situation.
And it's also something that Echo Fox has historically been really bad at.
Yeah.
They've been terrible at trading a lot of things. Sometimes they'll trade one turret for an inhibitor and shoot more turrets. Like, it's been really bad instances in the past. So I thought they did that one really well, and it does speak to some of their growth of the team over the past year.
When's the last time you saw a team trade Baron for their Nexus? I feel like I've seen that before. Like, they're rushing down Baron and they're like on Nexus turrets. It's like, this may have been a misplay. I feel like I've cast one of those before.
Definitely happens.
Definitely has happened. 3,000 gold lead, though, for Echo Fox. Happens actually pretty frequently so far this split. They are 3-2, and if they win this one, would tie Dignitas at 4-2 at the end of the day. As we see if they can keep maneuvering this one. But it's been a fairly slow game. It's been a lot of laning phase. Neither bot lane marksman has ever been above the river so far this game, pretty much. For the first time, Lod has seen the north half of the rift.
Froggen might be trying to flank, or at the very least look for a pick somewhere. Got to be careful. He was on a ward.
Big burns the crowd to get over the wall. Froggen's safe enough, doesn't want to kill off the Scry just yet. The far side orb.
Yeah,
back to the lane they go.
And the low kill count you speak of is kind of the tendencies of these teams right now. They're both trying to farm it out. I mean, Froggen is going to hit 300 CS before 30 minutes. But more so, the team compositions don't have the craziest initiation, even though they have pretty good disengage in some situations. Tahm Kench in general, just a lot of disengage. Elise in general has the ability to kind of do both. And Lod and Big haven't been looking for the aggressive plays. Like, that's the one thing where you could say, hey, this game could be much more kill heavy if Team Dignitas opts to do it with the Rakan and the Orianna. We've seen that combo pulled off a bunch. But if they're behind in the game and they're against a Tahm Kench, they just haven't found the opportunities to pull that trigger.
Yeah, you shock with someone, they get eaten, nothing happens at all, and now you're done ultimates for the rest of the team fight. So absolutely, it's been a bit more passive, and the tools just haven't been used yet by Team Dignitas, and as you're saying, maybe they don't get the chance to do so. Frog gonna grab his blue buff here, and we wait to see a little bit more to go on. And well, we'll see what the next big play is going to be. Echo Fox just gonna be stacking things up. I do want to point out they do have that Mountain Drake in inventory. The overlay only says the Infernal and Ocean, but they did grab Mountain before. They should get their second Mountain soon enough. I assume we'll update that shortly, but either way, just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. They've actually got 3 Drakes right now, plus the gold lead, so you'd really feel like their chances of winning are quite high. Froggen not going to find the charm over the wall. Tries to.
Playing quite bold, but that's because he has Tahm Kench right next to him. Maybe why we haven't seen Big going all out on those initiations. They also don't have Keane at the level of farm where that Shockwave combo will insta-kill. So they potentially also just want to farm it out the same way Echo Fox does.
See what they can do. Those of us just joining us onto the stream, we are here in the game 1 of Echo Fox versus Team Dignitas. One where Ssumday had done well for himself in the top lane, and Shrimp had made some nice plays up there, but Loopy did a very good job coming back into this one. A Rift Herald from Ssumday didn't get a whole lot done top lane. He got the turret, but he missed out on local gold, and Echo Fox just simply had the better time of a very long laning phase where Froggen has done so well for himself in getting out of his lane, not just solo kills, but getting people across the map, and Echo Fox just slowly holding on to more advantages. Next break gonna spawn soon. Charm lands, and it's Froggen again getting the opening. Half HP on several members of Team Dignitas. But now with Baron on the field, you might see a trade. An Ocean Drake for Dig wouldn't mean too much, but the chance at a Baron sneak is nice for Echo Fox.
Yeah, Froggen did poke them fairly low right there, and Looper had been shoving down the bottom lane, so getting that level of poke in a 4v5 is exactly what Echo Fox would want. They can force around both objectives. There's a control ward on the Baron right now that Akaadian is going to go clear away, but when he clears that, it puts Team Dignitas in a tricky situation. Having the push in mid makes it much simpler for them. It lowers the number of ways they can get flanked while checking the Baron pit, so yeah, good on them for having control of the mid lane.
Just a difficult situation still. Ssumday and Loop are about to trade blows in the bot side. Nope, they just walk past each other, ships in the night. So fitting they were in the river to do so, so more like rowboats in the night, I suppose. As they go back into their laning phases, but Rumble's coming up the lane right now. And his Team Dignitas once again shoving him through the mid, looking at maybe sniping down some of an inhibitor turret. They're ready to go for this.
Froggen is still behind them. That's the tricky thing here that's going to try and cut him off. And will
Looper
want to try and teleport in or just do the slow run up? A lot of poke here.
Here comes the chance at an engage. Not going to find much of a knock-up. That was only the charm, and then pulled back in by Lod. Going to find the knock-up there onto Akaadian. Eagle has to across, but Elise can just repel and get away from most of the fire. Let's Looks like the ground is damaged. He's not going to take much for that one. Quick charm getting away from that one just so far. Ssumday cutting back with the rest of his team, and there's no fight to be had. Ulti down by three members of Team Dignitas. Really only Froggen using his. Dignitas missing more. Great charm and a cocoon into all the damage out of Shrimp. Now losing his flash as well. EpicSkillshot continuing to get a little bit more every time with this.
Yeah, but the itemization out of Team Dignitas is keeping them alive. 3 copies of Mercury Treads, and then a QSS on their Kalista, and then the guy who doesn't have any items to knock him out of the charm can just get pulled out by Kalista. So really hard for EchoFox to get that pick.
Absolutely, and then Scuttle taken as well by EchoFox. Means more vision around here. The Trinket Ward turned off, and Looper going to push in the top side. They've got control over top lane 2-2 if they want it, and you can see the solo laners heading that way right now on your minimap. Could be a turret pickup here for EchoFox. Lod doing the best he can to push down in the mid lane, though, and try to pull attention toward him because EchoFox right now going for the Baron attempt, and Shrimp is out of wards to put down. He's going to run out of ways to reveal this Baron. They won't go the health bar. Dig waiting around on the wings, though, looking to find something to do.
Yeah, Akaadian really low there. Otherwise, I think they would have been more confident going for that. Does not want to die before the Baron does. Would allow Shrimp an easy steal.
But it means that Lod can keep hitting this inhibitor turret right now instead of being an ult out of gate, bringing in a Froggen with him. Lod runs away in time, but still gets more than half that turret down. EchoFox back in the mid lane.
And that's what you see the value of controlling that mid lane. When a team is trying to force Baron, it's making it very difficult for EchoFox to close this. Note how the Ocean Drake's still also entirely up. I think Lod's going to try and go and sneak that right now, actually, because EchoFox hasn't shown a propensity to actually close out this Baron.
Play nice kick, actually gets a lot of distance away from Looper. Q's onto Froggen to buy more time, and Shrimp gets away, but it baits in Ssumday, who joined the fight anyway. 1-0 EchoFox.
Yeah, no kick and no rumble for another 45 seconds. Will EchoFox try and starve them out at Baron? Team Dignitas has played very well around Baron this split. Looks like all EchoFox is doing is just recalling after that pick, so we're not going to get much progress in this game.
They're playing really slowly as well. Look at Keith now going for an early Maw of Malmortius as far as the itemization is concerned. Doesn't want more damage, doesn't think he needs it. And to be fair, they are winning, but it's been such a slow game. As you've seen, they were unwilling to go for a Baron 50-50, which is completely defensible, but they've not pushed their lead that much. Now here, bot lane outer falls down. Team Dignitas actually winning in turrets as the losing team. Certainly a little bit surprising to have to assume. EchoFox never grabbed this Ocean Drake either, and Lod could go for the solo here. Actually misses the Q over the wall, so gonna hop that way.
He could have just killed it. He just doesn't have vision of EchoFox.
He really could have.
Because EchoFox did something that I really dislike that some teams do, is they get a pick around Baron, you need to desert the area. So what was the point of killing the guy? Because it's actually Team Dignitas who got all the control over the area right afterwards. Now they have to come back, try and clear out the vision, try and reestablish their control wards where they just given all that stuff up, and they lose all the progress they should have gained from getting the kill.
Absolutely agree. It's been slow progress. And last time I cast EchoFox here in the Battle Theatre was when they played against Liquid way back in, I think it was week 1. And they had this 50-minute long game where they were up 20,000 gold at 12 minutes. Slight exaggeration, but only a little bit. And then waited against a Kog'Maw scale forever. And it took them 3 or 4 Barons to win the game. EchoFox have yet to get their first Baron, and certainly aren't showing signs of grabbing number 2 anytime soon either. Looking now at a Baron bait. Problem is there's actually a ward right behind them. They didn't sweep, so Dignitas knows there was no Baron attempt.
Yeah, and they don't actually have that much of a lead. They also don't have enough control wards to completely close out finish. So Team Dignitas knows this exists.
See if they can go for the play. Shrimp over the wall, lands the Q. Looper might wait out for this one. 3,000 health left on Baron Nashor. TP coming in now for Ssumday. And EchoFox will get the TP down as a result. So that is some gain to be had. And again, they can look for the top lane. Problem is they still have to be concerned about mid inhibitor. And Tahm Kench going to bring over a player. No, he's going to bring over himself. No one joined him.
Yeah, I mean,
it will still fall.
Yeah, but Team Dignitas probably wins this race. It's a really interesting cat and mouse game right here. It's
Lod's pushing mid.
Lod's going to be able to get that.
Yeah, inhibitor's going to fall. Sorry, inhibitor turret's going to fall. They're going to leave Looper in the bot side, but this time around, EchoFox at least have a teleport to play with, so maybe they can find something else to do. Lod's still shoving in this lane, though, and feels pretty safe. Looper going to recall instead of going for the inhibitor turret itself, so now it's EchoFox hoping they have a flank of some kind. But they're not really getting any kind of a fight here. They're just giving away Baron control yet again. Team Dignitas going to sweep away what wards they can. EchoFox waiting in the fog. At this point, though, they've bamboozled. I don't think Dignitas know where they're standing.
They don't. They have snuck behind. EchoFox has snuck behind them, but the question is, can they even win the team fight? Because it's a rumble.
Ulti down. I think Lod was looking for a pick onto Looper and couldn't find it, or on Negate. Here comes the Baron attempt, and EchoFox are in fog of war still. Keith going to attack a ward. Here comes the rest of the team. Engages around. Risk Scuttle gave him some vision, and it's just going to be damage onto them back and forth. It's a flank on all sides, but Tahm Kench not the scariest flanker by himself against 5.
Exactly, and Team Dignitas actually have a pretty strong 5-5 with the Orianna.
Not going to get enough yet for that one. Here comes the flash over the wall. Ssumday had to get away from that one. Afraid of Froggen. Here comes the jump forward. Gets Charm, gets knocked out, but he's going to get shut down! The kill goes through to Shrimp out of that one. More damage coming through. A big redemption heal comes to help keep the blue team alive a bit longer. And Gate cannot be part of this fight. He flashed into nowhere, essentially. Had to go right back out. Team Dignitas fighting with the deficit. Froggen down. Mid inhib will fall.
Scale long enough, you get a charm from Rakan, and you can kill whoever you want. No GAs, new QSSs, or cleanses, or Zonias, or any of that from Echo Fox. And Froggen just gets outplayed right there, trying to make that initiation happen. And all of this is because Team Dignitas has mid lane control. Every time they're in trouble, they're running back to that mid lane where they have the upper hand. They're stronger in the 5v5, they're staying together, and they always have a retreat path.
Look at this, actually, Keith finishing Death Dance for himself. That's actually pretty smart. I like that as a lifesteal option on Xayah, but still it is a defensive option. He is not going to kill the front line all that fast without extra crit. No Infinity Edge yet in the build, but it's more defensive option, which has still been the way of play for Echo Fox. But the game now within 2,000 gold with the middle inhibitor dead. It means more map control for Team Dignitas as they reset. No Baron to be taken. There's going to be some more farm down in the mid lane. The laning phase continues. 380 farm on Lod, 361 on Keith. A lot of gold for those two. They continue to try to be backline threats. Keith and Lod. Let's see what they can do next in this one. Fight over Baron Vision actually forces a Farsight orb out of Keane. They didn't have any vision over this Baron pit right now. Again, look for the play in the mid lane. Big gets away from the charm. Froggen is down that cooldown for now, and of course he uses ult as well. That'll jump on cooldown soon enough. Ssumday again near the lane. Reaper winning around in the wings as well. Echo Fox haven't found anything good to happen for a while. Maybe this is the play. They're going to look for the stun. They're going to find the damage out, but Keane just barely slinks away, but Looper still wants more, but he can't make it happen. Guardian Angel popped. Redemption gets some more health back. Gate in the front lines, but has no one to save, and Looper just cannot go. He does get the damage, but it's traded back now for a lot. A big knockout comes through. Look at the damage across onto Echo Fox. Froggen running away. He's already got a lot of his team dead, and Keith, the last one standing alongside Akaadian. The Featherstorm is in, looks for the damage, can't yet kill Ssumday. Hoping to make it happen alongside Akaadian, and they will. And in fact, it is Echo Fox who win the fight. Only the one member of Team Dignitas standing around as Keith, the durable build, actually pays off, survives all of the engage, and life steals back up.
Wow, such a bloodbath. At first, it looked pretty bad for Echo Fox, actually, because they didn't get the insta-kill on the pick that they had gone for, and they kind of opted into a temporary 2v5. The rest of their team wasn't very close, but they thought the pick was so good that it was worthy of going for. And then the chaos erupts in the fight, mainly Keith making the late entrance after everyone had already burned a bunch of their CC is able to clean up. Watching this one more time, though, I mean, stun straight onto Keane, he cleanse, flashes away, and Looper does have to kind of wait out his GA. And here, Team Dignitas do a bit of a re-engage instead of just all peeling back to kill Looper. It means Keane goes down because no one else is there to focus him enough. And even with the turn, since no one actually gets onto Keith, he can just pop his ultimate, even has flash to go and get that call back of his Featherstorm to get the root onto Rumble and finalize the kill.
Really nicely done right there. 2-0-4 now. Keith picking up the slack as Froggen did get, I believe, CC'd pretty heavily by Big's Rakan there in the middle of that fight. That was one of the kills in the beginning of that. Still, Looper made the chase happen, and they picked off Keane, and that helped make it a whole lot closer to the 4-on-4, missing one soul laner apiece. Echo Fox back into the mid lane, looking to keep control over the super minions, and they're doing a pretty good job of that one, honestly. It's been them getting farm off the mid lane. Team Dignitas not really getting that gold.
Yeah, a lot going with the super lifesteal build on Kalista as well. So if fight gets really long and messy, look for him to sustain through it, but he has to not get picked off early on.
For Scimitar, it's less likely. We'll see what happens, though. The front line's once again drawn as Gate heads up forward. It's the 5v5 in this pit. Dignitas once again trying, and Lot, of course, can stay full health against Baron. There's no risk onto him. He stays healthy, but Baron will heal back up. Several thousand health per second, basically. Again, look at the attempt. There's the flash forward. Shotgun's going to land, but nice pickup by Gate, keeps Keith alive. And now here comes the play on the top side of the map. It's Keane dropped a bit low, but Akaadian's already been popped off. Guardian Angel pops now onto Shrimp. One down, Guardian Angel on the other. Knock up there into a follow-up knock-up, but the kill on Shrimp has come through. It's a 1-for-1 so far. 4v4 Sun and Keane, they get the kill picked up. Nicely done right there, and now next up is Big. Rooted up in the face, and it's Looper getting out of this place. Barely walking away, and it's going to be Ssumday picked off as well. Zonias can't keep him alive any longer. The feathers come through and pierce through his mech shell. And here's Gate on the backside, bringing a friend. It's the duo lane once again here. Looking to find a party in the top side of the map. Big kiting away, trying to stay alive. Nice juke back by Keith, makes the kill come through, and this is going to be the 8th for Echo Fox. Keith remaining unkilled. He wanted to be in the same tier as Arrow, and this time around he's playing a whole lot better with these feathers. Vlad trying to lifesteal Kite, can't do it quite enough. The power of 30 lifesteal at work to be sure, but still it's not enough, and Echo Fox win that fight big.
Yeah, I mean, what is that, 44% lifesteal he's got on that Kalista build because of the 3 lifesteal items he's got, but not quite enough. The fight is what to focus on right there, and mainly the way Echo Fox dodged the initiation of Big's Rakan. He went in, thought they'd have 3. That's the huge charm shockwave combo you'd hope for. But watch this one more time.
Gates the man.
Froggen's waiting, Gates the man, and also Akaadian with his Banshee's Veil just jumps up into the air. So pretty much no one gets hit by that initiation, and now Equalizer's down. Yeah, they get Akaadian afterwards, but Shrimp also trades for his GA. Now it's just a waiting game. Looper off on the side, that's where Team Dignitas decide to go, and Keane is low. Looper gets the stun, which allows Froggen to get the execute onto Keane, and then if Vlad was going to make that hero play, you want to make that while the dude's in Zonias, not when you're all on your own, because clearly that build on Kalista, you can see its power later in team fights, but doesn't quite take the best advantage of it. Now they're going for more.
And they're not going to get the cocoon. It was close though. Looper's still winning in the wings, and Shrimp says, I want this red buff, and grabs it with the E-Smite. Out he goes, but look at this Echo Fox, 8,000 up, 4 uncontested Drake so far. That's pretty good for them. We can see what's next for them soon enough. Recounting everything.
Yeah, I mean, Infinity Edge will be in soon for Keith. I would have preferred he actually builds one earlier because I feel like it has such a multiplier, but here comes another fight.
Another charm's gonna land, the knockup is there on a run, and Gate just pulls back Looper, keeping him alive. Nothing really damaging. Down to the front line, and that's 2 ults down. 3 ults down again, I should say.
Yeah, Echo Fox clearly ready for the Rakan. It was the first pick by Team Dignitas, but Big not getting everything he would like out of that, and Froggen hoping those big old Baron minions will finish off the turret for him.
Damage gonna be there, and Froggen gets into range for the local gold. 200 to him, feels good. Mid lane tier 2 fell as well, it's part of it all. See if they can get some more damage for themselves. Mid lane under fire a little bit more with these Baron minions, but Echo Fox are actually having a pretty good Baron power play themselves. 11,000 up already.
Yeah, the CS is kept up for most of the game. They finally found that conversion, even though Team Dignitas was controlling that mid lane oh so well. Now it's very difficult for them to pull this one off. They do not have the quickness up on Big's Rakan. That's their main initiation. Even when he's had it, they haven't been able to pull it off because they really need that clean initiation with this no-tank team if they want to fight back against it.
Ton of damage comes in. Big gonna miss the knock. Gonna kite back and forth. They find Looper eaten up and stays alive. Mid inhibitor is gone. Nice shockwave on a few. Can't quite get Looper just yet. Can he stay alive though? Ooh, we've got ourselves a weird grab into this one. I'm gonna cast the team fight, and it's back on in the front line anyway. Akaadian has dropped Looper back to join, and Keith remains healthy. Finds more auto attacks. Gets away from what could have been a bit more damage from Orianna. Finds the root, and a Keane cleanse flashes away. Stays alive. 3 versus 4 in this fight. Echo Fox still in the lead, and Keith remains full health. That death dance keeping him healthy forever, so that's been paying off well enough. Froggen also kiting back, and now with double Ocean Drake on, they should be all right, as they can kite back pretty easily.
Whew. Boy, that fight got a little confusing in the middle for some reason, but I gotta say, still Echo Fox staying safe for just long enough, and you're really seeing if Team Dignitas doesn't get that clean initiation, they don't have the same type of front line. I mean, Gate is saving so many people, along with Looper just buying a lot of time. Now they're going for Keane.
Gonna find nothing just yet, but here comes Looper in the front, under the turret, doesn't care. Shockwave doesn't hit anything. Gate continues to be the man, the fish, whatever you want it to be, but the Kench is certainly unbenched here. Doing nicely, Echo Fox, get another cooldown down.
Yeah, and he's also at the late point in the game where he's also super tanky himself on top of thick skin, 3,600 health, 190 armor, so you don't want to focus him either. Kind of the Tahm Kench dream. Watching this one more time, Looper just goes in, try and make a big distraction for the turret to go down. And even if the shockwave is huge there, Gate sits in the redemption, has the just frontline presence that no one on Team Dignitas can get through. I was waiting for a Devour. But even so, Vlad can't quite get in through that front line. Elder Drake rush, even though they have no Elders of their own. This is mainly a desperation to prevent Echo Fox from getting in.
And you think they'll get it with the Kalista, but there's still a team fight to be had. Let's see if it comes down. Ooh, a nice bit of burn damage across this one. Now, who can pick it up? Yes, it will go to Vlad. The team fight comes in.
This could be big.
Big damage in. They've got the fire damage across. The life still keeping up for a little bit longer. And look at the kills coming across. Shutdowns back and forth. It's Vlad staying alive with 42% lifesteal, and the rest of the damage coming through, toasting his buns, and Gate's going to evaporate, jump over the wall. Style points for Shrimp. It is only Froggen left alive, but there are 2 dead inhibitors. Will Froggen go for the defense, or will he force a recall?
Well, they definitely have to recall back into base right here, but what a call there by Team Dignitas. It is desperation. That doesn't make it a bad call, and it ends up working for them anyway. They had to do that. I think Ssumday got a big equalizer for the first time there, but mainly it was Law just free hitting at the back with the overshield he had built up from the Elder Drake in the first place, and then also a 3-man shockwave from Keane. So all the team fighting they were trying to play around 20 minutes ago, they finally get Echo Fox to funnel into a fight rather than pulling off a big flank. Let's track the key players in this fight here. The double equalizer, while there's a double knockout, makes Akaadian really low beforehand, and then the shockwave onto 3. So no one is really devoured or able to dodge that in the first place, and Froggen had not been able to enter the fight in the right way. So just a hugely clutch team fight win there by Team Dignitas.
And that was positioning at work right there, and you finally got to see the value of what a big shockwave could have done. Some solid ancillary damage. You can see, right, Froggen 900 damage. The man has 20 times that much gold, almost cresting 20,000 damage himself, and got exactly 1 spell off right there. You contrast that with Keane with that 4,000 damage via the shock of everything else, despite a 3,000 gold deficit even after they win the team fight. The way you play matters almost always actually more than what you actually have. It's how you use it. Dignitas used it pretty nicely into that one. Still a long way to go to get back into this one. This is a very, very meek Elder Dragon. Keeps it off the table for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But they've got to come back from 7,000 gold down.
Exactly, and 2 inhibitors, which is going to be super bad timing for them. The inhibitors are about 2.5 minutes from being able to respawn. The Baron is 50 seconds from being able to respawn. So Echo Fox should be able to just get another Baron and then try and cycle the inhibitors before that happens and really keep Team Dignitas on their back foot. Now, Team Dignitas does have a lot of catch potential that they almost have to use before that Baron spawns and before Echo Fox plays around it.
So we'll see how they can play this one. Ssumday, the power of double fire, running down these minions pretty quickly for themselves. Echo Fox back in the mid lane. Keith at this point is full build. Infinity Edge joins into the fray. Same for Lod here, who's got himself his armor penetration. He's got his healing reduction. Pretty valuable stuff to have. Running out of things to buy. Talisman Ascension in for big. It is an armor item. Be a little bit better of a front liner, but running out of slots himself. Just has control wards. Same for Gate. They might never change items again. Only 1 slot left for Akaadian. The mid laner is almost done as well. Waiting in the brush. They know Baron's up, but there is a ward on the Baron. So there's really no chance that this is a proper sneak. Controller only sees 1 of the 2, and they only have the 2 sweepers, so they can't remove that other ward.
Yeah, this is an interesting phase in the game for Echo Fox. They have the standard trinket distribution that you see from most teams, but since they have a lead, I actually always like it in these games where the team that's winning just goes for yet another sweeper once you lose your control ward spots, because they really can't deny vision the way they want to around this pit.
Here's the knockup though, finds on it too as well. Skate, it's almost going to take down Keith, but he stays alive. Death Dance still burning him down though. He's got to get this redemption heal, stays alive. 500 health left on him now. But the kite back is there, and Gate dangerously injured. Big wave in the top lane, but it's not easy to join in. Gate could get caught out. They're not going to find him just yet. Here comes the chase. Not going to get Keith just yet. Just reads in with the double Ocean Drake.
Their
They're going to go
base.
towards the base.
They need to defend their base as well.
They can get Keane down to 500 HP himself. A lot of damage there. Keith gets found out. The knockup is going to be a quick chomp to keep him alive. Gate's going to spit him out to safety, but Lod is pretty hard to kill. Pops the QSS, goes to the chase down. Ssumday turns on the flame sphere. The Featherstorm comes in for a big root, but he's not getting any kills. Another knockup, and that's going to be the kill on the Keith. 3 picked up right now. It's a 2v5. And Team Dignitas now have some map to play with and a lot of champions as well.
Oh my goodness. It's actually a total disaster for Echo Fox right now. They get none of the turrets, they don't get the Baron, they suffer 3 casualties, and all they really had to do was retreat towards their base instead of the enemy base, because this is where Team Dignitas want to be.
And Loop are going to choose to die and lose Guardian Angel just to knock down an inhibitor right now. It's going to be a very desynced death. I guess not too bad. There's already 45 seconds of death timer, so he's only off by 15 to 20. Double inhibitor down, may leave one in the base. Ssumday, though, has teleport. He can join if they go for a Nexus push right now because death timers are 30 seconds long, and only Froggen is alive, and Looper chose to die to kill an inhibitor. So now a 5 versus 1 Nexus defense as Froggen kites back. The knockdown is there. They're going to take him out. He actually gets a kill picked up with the Zhonya's Hourglass kiting back, and Froggen! 1 versus 5, it's all he needs! Froggen can do it himself. Lod, though, gonna try to knock down some turrets, get charged up. Gone.
What are you
doing,
a bit
Lod?
more
Damage. Lod, he can lifesteal, but not off of structures. You can't get blood from a stone. But look at that one, the kickback, the flash kick. Oh, God, Shrimp! Exactly what he is. The God Fist is in, gets the kill, shot for the knockdown gate, and Team Dignitas are gonna get the comeback win, still down 2,000 gold.
Oh, man. What a wild way to end that game. With Echo Fox just kind of fumbling their double inhibitor advantage with Baron respawning, but Big's Rakan, I mean, finding the picks when it matters, Law just tanking up everyone. That is what that Kalista kind of is with that much lifesteal. It turns into a tank as long as you're not bursted because you heal so much, but they make just enough plays to win the game. They were losing for about 40 minutes by a little bit, never super far out of the game, but they just kind of pull it out right at the end and rush the Nexus.
It's the inverse coast. Up until they win the game, they're losing. Even Nexus falls, they're still losing in that one, but it certainly worked out.
Yeah.
Small shout out to Brother Looper as well, again choosing to die with
man.
70-second long death timers. A champion is not worth as much as an inhibitor because, especially with Rumble having TP up, he can hold that wave and just join the push at the end. I think with those two, based on how Froggen played that, you had a crocodile, they defend that.
Because Froggen, by himself, killed Big, charmed Laud and delayed his damage, cleared the minions. You add a Renekton with his ultimate into that, and the game easily prolongs.
Yeah.
But that's the decisions you have to make down the stretch in League of Legends, and you can't always make the right one. Looper clearly made the wrong one, and you see the cost of that happening in a 50-minute game.
Well, the cost is game 1 going down. We're going to now throw it down to our analysts to see what they make of that Team Dignitas game 1 win.
Thank you very much, Phreak. Late game decision-making really determining this game in particular. Echo Fox making the wrong calls, Dignitas making the right ones when it matters to come up with the victory. But this is the thing, for both teams, it didn't look pretty.
Nope.
And as is really the theme of the day, a lot of back-and-forth games for most of these squads. But let's take a look at this one as it played out. Rakan priority for Dignitas, and ultimately it did net them a lot of really solid engages, but I know you had some curiosities around such high priority.
Yeah, I mean, it's a champion that a lot of people consider of the Xayah-Rakan duo being the weaker half, often relying on Xayah to help him out with some of his deficiencies. This time around, obviously, they prefer that, and they had the Kalista ready to play into the Xayah instead. And for the most part, the bot lane didn't feel like it was too influential for most of the game until the very end when everything was decided by the bot lane.
Absolutely, and we will get to that. I do want to dive into one replay and stay with us on this one. This comes 32 minutes. It's focused on decision-making here, so walk me through this from Echo Fox's perspective.
All right, so you always hear about the term mid-priority. You need mid-priority before you can do anything. Here, Echo Fox does not get it. You see the minion waves of both Echo Fox and Dignitas just starting to meet now, and with that, they go for vision control. This means that it buys time for Dignitas to push the minion wave and puts a clock on whatever Echo Fox is looking for. You no longer have infinite time to sit in this brush.
Right, because it will crash on our inhib.
Right, it will eventually push into your base. This forces Echo Fox's hand now where they say, oh, instead of going back to mid lane and trying to get the priority back, they just go right to Baron. So they're kind of putting themselves further in a hole. They burn it down pretty low. It looks like they might get it. The teleport starts coming in now, and Echo Fox panics, and they back off the Baron. And from here, Dignitas is thinking, great, now we can just go back to mid, get another minion wave because you're still on the wrong side, and push this all the way up to your inhibitor turret now. On the flip side, Fox makes a decision for some reason to trade this out for a top inner turret. And this inability to play with the minion waves is something that has haunted them for seasons. They had this problem last split, they had it all the way back into 2016, and they're still struggling with getting priority when they have winning, game situations. They're up gold right now.
Because I think it's important to recognize that basically in League, you're always presented with a number of options, right?
Yep.
You always have a choice to make, right? And in that situation, pushing mid gives them the option to continue to contest mid, rotate to the Baron, control the vision, or go all the way to the top side. But by leaving that mid lane, as you mentioned, they've now conceded one of their decision trees over to Dignitas, and now their only choices are Baron and top lane.
That's why you often hear the term Baron dance, because you go, you push the mid wave, you go to Baron, you clear out all the vision, the next minion waves comes. You can sit there and wait and hope that they don't take priority, or you can go back, get it again, and you already have vision control. Echo Fox completely, sidesteps that whole kind of dance situation. They just go right to Baron, ignore the minion waves, and they really stall out the game for a long time to the point where Echo Fox is starting to hit their last items.
Right.
Or Dignitas, excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get to that stage of the game where everyone's at 6 items, and it really is the next fight wins in a lot of regards. And this is why we'll go to our final fight here, because that same kind of error in decision-making, to some degree, plagues them here.
Right, so once again, now you see that they are kind of at the mercy of this Rakan engage. He gets a great Flash Charm ultimate onto Keith, who has been the one who have been surviving the team fights this entire time and kind of playing cleanup duty, now chunked out extremely early on, and you see them all splitting up. Froggen wants to pick somebody. Akaadian's trying to zone the group of 3. Does get Keane very low, but now Gate is trying to teleport out there, doesn't actually get out, gets interrupted, and now they're pinned up against the base of Dignitas, and they're left in some crazy scramble situation, thinking maybe we can trade inhibitors now because we've already lost this fight, and it's a tough spot to be in.
But again, it's starting at the Baron and moving to the top lane, because we've cut ourselves off from mid lane as well. So we're removing options for ourselves in the late game strategically, just by our positioning as a team on the map relative to the minion waves.
Right, so you can point at that Renekton. Should he have stayed for the inhibitor? Probably not.
Right.
But if you're looking at how to improve as a team for Echo Fox, it's not these kind of scramble situations. It's this controlled situation where you need to get the mid lane pushing in your favor.
Right, exactly. And that's, I think, a huge thing is, to Looper, and we don't even know who made the call for him to stay for that inhib. I mean, again, in those infinitesimal moments, right, where you have to make a decision, do I go for the inhib or do I back? Those are those kinds of things that you might as well coin flip. It's the setup plays. It's the ultimate strategy of like what they're doing on the map and where they're selecting to put their vision that isn't hitting the mark for them, and that's what they should be focused on as a team. Now, player of the game, going to go over to Lod, because we haven't even talked about what Dignitas did right
to
here.
get back in.
But that's the thing. Dignitas didn't do a whole lot right aside from stick into the game.
Right, they had a couple close team fights versus Echo Fox. Eventually, Echo Fox found one that should have ended the game, and they make a really smart decision to force around the Elder Dragon, Lod being able to sit in the back of the pick, get all the Ren stacks, make sure they secure that one, and then they get a nice team fight. Ssumday has a great ultimate, and then the rest of the game is really the fact that Lod is really hard to get picked off. He's never getting hit by Froggen charms, except right at the end there at near the Nexus turret. But the game's already over at that point.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the safety of the Tahm Kench along with the triple lifesteal build on the Kalista. We see at a certain point how hard he is to take down, and ultimately he provides the damage that pushes them forward to a victory. Any thoughts here for Echo Fox, aside from what we talked about how they get back into this series here in Game 2, back on blue side, because they will have a little bit more priority here in Champ Select?
This is on the coaching staff, I think, to sit the team down and be like, you guys played a good game. There's an early path by Akaadian, got first blood. You answered when they tried to get control of the top side back. Everything was fine, but you need to make sure that you know how to play around late game. And it's a hard thing to figure out in game. I don't want to belittle the fact that a lot of teams struggle with this portion of the game, but you need to focus on getting mid priority, because you will struggle so much in split push situations, baiting Baron, just trying to siege and inhib if you never have minion waves figured out correctly.
Well, it was a hard-fought Game 1. We'll see if Team Dignitas can take the series or if Echo Fox will bring us to a Game 3. Stick with us. The match continues after the break.